What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to talk about the Ferrum Forge Archbishop 3.0. This is designed by Chris and Elliot Williamson of Ferrum Forge, those handsome guys, as Nick Shabazz calls them. It is a contoured frame lock, titanium, and the contouring, as far as ergonomics, are great. You can kind of, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you see the nice contouring there. So in hand, just quick preview, that's one of the great things about this one. It has a great stone-washed frame. It's kind of like a working finish sort of thing, so it can take scratches really well. And it looks as though it was a bead-blasted blade that was also tumbled, stone-washed. It's really nice. Gives it a working finish too. So this is definitely kind of a good working blade in terms of that goes. It does have this high saber grind up there. So the manufacturing tracks with We Corporation, I don't know. They don't necessarily document it. I'm not going to press them for it. But it would make a lot of sense. They've made a lot of their things, like Protect does the Mordex because of the button locking and that sort of thing. But it does track to be with We. This knife sports a 3.5-inch blade of 20 CV Super Steel. Love that. And it weighs 4.8 ounces, which is interesting. It's kind of deceiving. It feels a little bit heavier, and it prices at $280 standard. You can buy it on their website or other retailers. It also does come with blue and bronze anodizing on this. So if you are interested in that, definitely have some of those alternatives. In terms of some comparison knives, for myself, the things that kind of, just in terms of use, you're talking about some titanium frame locks that are in the 3.5-inch range. The McNeese Mac 2 3.5-inch performance machine. This is also on bearings, titanium frame lock, and it weighs, I forgot what the weight of it is, a little bit lighter though, I believe, or maybe in that range. They're all very similar to some of these comparison knives. But that's definitely in there. The Les George designed VSEP, again, titanium frame lock. This is not on bearings though. The VSEP is actually on phosphor bronze. And they do sell, of course, one that's a non-tanto blade that has basically just a regular drop point blade. And it is thumb stud deploying versus flippers, but again, they have VSEPs that are also flippers as well, if that's your thing. I do tend to prefer thumb studs myself, but those are some options in there. And next one is the Allurus. I think it's called Allurus, but that is a Ferrum Forge design, a fairly recent release, but it's definitely a lot. It's in every use that I've considered, it just feels different. The use case is different. It's thinner blade stock, a lot smaller in hand. It does have a squared versus a contoured frame, so that's one that it's kind of, if you're interested in there, those are some of the things. But for me, the actual use case really is with the way that this is ground up there with that high flat grind. It kind of cuts across it transverse. This is the Hinder designed zero tolerance 0562 full tie. So that one is also priced in there. The Allurus, by the way, is in the same price range, $280. But this one I think I got it when it was before it was $280. But I think it goes for maybe $285, $290. The price is still very similar. Titanium frame lock. Again, that grind, the blade just behaves very similarly. So yeah, that I think is probably, for me, the true comparison knife here. And I may come back to that knife a little bit later. So let's jump into the pros of this knife. The ergonomics are absolutely marvelous. Ferrum Forge does a great job with that. This is a full-size finger choil, so I really appreciate that. The Allurus, I actually already cut myself on, just kind of trying it out. It is not as full-throated as this one, so this is definitely going to be better for bigger hands like that. And then the contouring, this thing's, you could just sit there and actually carve or do something for a long time on this knife. So the ergonomics really can't be argued with. Fantastic. The two screw construction, and this is one of the things I really do like, is they have an integrated backspacer now. So it's basically just two sandwiched pieces of the frame, and the backspacer comes together and is built out of that titanium. So you end up with a very clean front side there. The show side is fantastic, but the back side, to take this thing apart was literally the easiest knife I've ever had, with just the one screw that goes in there, and then you have your pivot screw. Really, really fantastic. So it made servicing this knife really, really good. So I really appreciate that as far as titanium frame lock goes. And then all the stonewashing that they did on this thing, it is great. I definitely bumped up against cars when I was carrying this, and so the pocket clip also has that nice, tumbled finish there. And that really makes it really helps overcome one of the real problems that we're going to talk about in just a sec. So I think that is a great pro of this knife is the choice to do that. And I imagine it would probably work well for the bronze and the blue anodized ones. So yeah, well, some good pros working for this thing. I would have liked a little bit of weight relief. This is actually not weight relieved at all inside there. And I just, for myself, even though it was lighter than the 0562, the 0562 is 5.4 ounces versus 4.8 ounces. It literally just feels more nimble in hand. The handle lengths, obviously, is just a taller handle length, but the handle lengths are the same. The blades are the exact same length. I think some of your weight relief is obviously coming from there, but the 0562 just feels a little bit more nimble in hand. This one's just kind of a little bit heavy and a little bit more like a heavyweight. So I appreciate it in hand. And I think just a little bit of contouring in there, I think would have helped. It's just like I said, it's balanced, but it just feels a little bit much like a heavy or a lead weight in the pocket. And then the last thing that really is the only serious con of this one, but it's very serious. I actually wrote a note to them because, well, let's talk about it. So the Archbishop 2.0 actually has an interior cutout, and I will go ahead and show the Allurus. So the Allurus has that same interior lock bar relief cutout, but they can do that because it's basically flat scaled. But in their response, and I respect them, and they're knife designers, I am not. They said that when I wrote them, I said, why this? Because you have a couple problems there. One is that, it just gets caught on the pocket. And then when you combine it with this pocket clip, it's literally a disaster. That's like right there, the devil's triangle for your pocket. And I can only use it on ones without seams, which I have a lot of jeans that have that now, but it's a real problem. They didn't choose to extend that pocket clip out. If they had just moved out, I don't know, 5 more millimeters, half a centimeter maybe, would have been fine because you would have cleared it. But the fact that those come together with kind of a sharp point there, so they chose not to chamfer that at all, where that's at, and it just literally this gets clipped on your pocket, and you can see that on the front side montage. So that's a really big con. They explained that with a contoured scale, there's not enough material there to actually maintain enough lock strength to keep, the primary safety features, which is your lockup there, in play with that lock bar. So they had to make that decision and, put it to the outside, and that was just kind of a killer. So, overall, for me, I have some mixed feelings. In hand, it's fantastic. Like I said, I think they could have done a little bit of weight relief just to make it feel a little bit more nimble in hand. Ferrum Forge ergonomics cannot be argued, though. They're fantastic with the front choil or back, even works. In terms of the deployment and that sort of stuff, the backside flip works fine. I can't really do it so well with the thumb deployment because the lock bar, or I should say the detent, is so tuned for the flipping there. But the backside thumb actually works much better because you're pushing it away from the lock bar. So overall, yeah, I got some mixed feelings on this knife, and I think for me, the thing that probably seals it as a good workable knife is I'll just take the pocket clip off, maybe replace it with a different one, or just take it off, and because it has that nice working finish, it can just float around with keys and whatever other stuff in my pocket. But the one problem with that is that it is a flipper, so I might actually consider possibly grinding that thing off and just make it a floater in the pocket, and take off the pocket clip entirely. So yeah, some mixed feelings on this one, some hits, some misses. I think with a couple choices, just kind of correcting that, extending that, I think that would have made it probably an overall better value. So hope you did enjoy this. If you did, like and subscribe, and have a great day. Take care now. What's up, YouTubers? Missed the flipper.